we're going to talk about basic Marbleslide, understanding the coefficient of x. So if you select that, and it will go right to view. I'm going to go to student view so that you can see what you will see. Directions here, you'll have that in both English and Spanish. I'll remind you to pause the video when I say pause so that you can do the activity in Desmos. So we're going to be exploring the coefficient of x, which is that number in front of x in a linear function. So in this first example, we have a line here in green, and the equation of the line is on the left right here. We want to change the 2 in the equation, the number that's next to x, so that the line goes through the purple point on the graph, this line right here. So this line can be changed to anything. I could change to 1, change it back to 2. You can see that as I change it in increasing numbers, it is getting steeper. And if I just keep going up one by one, I eventually got y equals 4x went through that purple point right there. And that point was at 1, 4. So now is a chance for you to do this on your own. There are 4 equations right here. You're not going to do anything to the orange one. That's going to be your comparison that you're going to stay there. You want to change the green one to go through the green point. You want to change the purple one to go through this purple point. And you want to change the red one to go through this red point. You can pause the video and do that now. What happens to the line as you change the number next to x? This number is called the coefficient of x. So what was happening as you change the number? You can pause and go back and think about that. Hopefully you recorded something that says, as you increase that x value, your line got steeper. So now the line, we have this green line right here, and our point is this red one over here. Now the line needs to be flatter. Can you change the coefficient of x to go through the red point? So changing this. So we know that if I make it bigger, it makes it steeper. If I make it smaller, it gets flatter. But one does not seem quite flat enough. If you need a hint or a strategy, there is always a strategy slide going next. So pause here and do some guess and checking, or if you have a strategy already, you can try that. If you need a hint, go on to the next slide. Looking at this strategy, it says, if you could not get the line to go through the red point, go back to the last slide and try using a fraction between 0 and 1. So I will go back and show that. If you put a fraction in, Desmos knows exactly what to do with that. So I just randomly picked 1/2, which happened to go through that. It's just a fraction that always comes to mind, but you can put any fraction in and you just use the divide slash to put that in, and then Desmos will pop that into a regular math looking fraction. So 1/4 was too much. I'm going to go back to 1/2, which was correct for that. Now again, you are not going to change the orange one to go through the green point. You're going to change the green equation here. Once you get that one, you'll go on to get through the purple point by changing the purple equation, and then go through the red point by changing the red equation. Pause here and do this in Desmos. On this example, and this is on slide 8, we want to change the coefficient to go through the red x. And it doesn't look like we need to go steeper. And, we could think about going flatter again, but it doesn't go through that point. What is different about trying to go through this point? So pause here and do this on your own. If you need a strategy, remember you can go forward to read what the strategy hint is. So what is different about this line? Think about slope, dude. What has to be different about the coefficient of the graph? So if I slide back and look at this, this line is behind, if I just go back to where I was, this point is behind the line. So if I'm going through 0 in this line, see how my graph is falling from left to right. That means I have a negative slope. So I could start by putting a negative sign in there. And now it looks like I need to go up a little bit. I need to go steeper. So I need to change the coefficient to be bigger. So if I go 2, not enough, 3, so -3 is the slope that works through that point. If you look at slide 10, you're going to do the same thing. Don't change the orange. You're going to change the red, green, and purple to go through the corresponding points. So you'll have 3 equations that you're changing here. And here is just another strategy for downhill, that noticing that you need to have a negative coefficient. Now we get to the marble run portion of the assignment. So for this, it says just click the launch button and see what happens. So I'm going to click launch, dropping a marble, or dropping marbles down. I find that very satisfying to have the stars disappear. That's your goal. Let's look at some problems that are going to do that. So the goal of this game is to write an equation of a line so that the marble hits all of the stars. In the one you just did, the line was in the right place so that the marbles hit all the stars. In the next slide, you should change the equation to move the line so that the marbles will hit all of the stars. So on this one, you see that our line is steeper than this line right here. So we need to get less steep. So we have 8x here. That seems to be too much. You pause here and try this on your own in Desmos. I'm going to go ahead and start, see how that's going down. Not enough, not quite enough. So I'm getting less and less, not quite. Isn't that if I do the launch, it's not going to go through there quite yet. And I can see that 3x seems to be going through. Once you think you're confident, you can hit launch, and you can see that it went through each of the points. Now you're going to do this for a variety of slides. You're going to change the slope and hit launch. This will check to see if your equation is correct. So pause here and work on your own. Once you do this, the instructions that you have on slide 16 say do the next 3 graphs by calculating the slope and putting it in the equation. So I think by now, hopefully, you are recognizing that we are really using slope. We're using rise over run to go through here. So for example, if I want to go through this star to the right here, I would need to go up 1 to the right 3. So slope being rise over run, it's going to be up 1 over 3. So this is fractional. And if I put in 1 over 3 for my rise over run, you can see that the line goes right through there. So that's the strategy we want you to work on going through. And if I drop my marbles, it's going to go through each one of those. And that lets you know if you got this correct. So once you get this and you have the strategy of using slope, it should be pretty quick to go through these. And you're going to go through each one of these changing. And at slide 22, it's going to give you a challenge. And I hope you'll take a risk and try those, especially if you're already done here.